Libra rising, and of course all of you Libra moon people out there. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting February 24th, 2020. I almost said March because March is in there as well. And just a quick reminder for everybody out there, should you ever wish to get a session with me, you do need to go on ahead to my website. It's called integrativemysticism.com, or of course you may also just simply follow the links below. Also, we do have somebody moving out right now, so if you hear weird noises or bumps or things like that, I apologize. He's going to be moving out over the next 2 weeks, so I'm going to try to time more recordings around that, but today just happened to be a special day. So, what's going on when it comes to this next week? Well, on Tuesday we actually have Mercury currently retrograde in a tight conjunction with the Sun in your 6th house of work, your reputation, your schedule, as well as your teams, your service to the world, and sometimes this can also talk about our physical health. But what I'm actually getting from this is that this is kind of talking a little bit more about the very mercurial side of things. We talk about Mercury, remember, communications, haste, and speed. Mercury retrograde in the 6th house is undoing a lot that just is not working when it comes to your work life, when it comes to how you provide your services to the world, the collaborators that you have. This is a wonderful time for a lot of you looking to actually use maybe some of the frustrations that have been coming up from Mercury retrograde is a constructive way to make some adjustments when it comes to your financial or professional priorities. The Sun is all about bringing in healing, bringing in rectification, bringing in maybe opportunities to recover either jobs, roles, or even promotions that maybe we had not necessarily been able to take on or we were not available to in the past. Old services, old pastimes, and even old customer and client bases are also going to be up for grabs during this period. Now, Mercury is still technically retrograde, so it could be a very difficult way for a positive thing to show up in your life. But if there is anything you wish for people to take a look at, start to revise, or again change about your work and your service to the world, maybe even your reputation, how you're known by the world at large, Tuesday is the day to start playing with this energy. On Friday, we actually have Venus, the planet of love, harmony, affection, as well as the finer things in life in your 7th house, It's in your 7th house, right? Aries, the closest one-on-one relationships area. So that is possibly your spouse or your partner, your best friend, your roommate, your business partner, all the people you have your closest one-on-one connections to. But she's in a square with Pluto, the planet of a bit of severity, the planet of power. Sometimes power struggles are the application of power in your 4th house of home and family, as well as the domicile and your roots. Now, Venus is initiating this square. And when Venus is initiating the square from the 7th house, a positive gesture, maybe a gift, a token of affection, or maybe a big move made by somebody that you're in a close one-on-one relationship with, is going to run up against some kind of obligation, limitation, or maybe even boundary that has been set either on the home front or on the family front. Now, with Pluto involved, this could, of course, have to do with a power struggle or maybe power lorded over the homestead. Sometimes we see a situation like this show up where maybe we find a really cool opportunity to live with a partner, or we won't find a new place we'd rather live, but we're caught up in a lease. Maybe a wonderful gesture by a romantic partner tests or bumps up against the values of maybe a relative, or maybe it's just, again, the memories of what's been instilled in us from our youth and our formative years. Sometimes we see this show up where there could even be a clash over your affection or your loyalties between one of your closest one-on-one relationships and somebody close to home. Remember, there is a square going on here, so that means that we can work with this. Squares all have cures. Squares all have the possibility and the opportunity to turn out with a happy ending for all concerned. But with this square, it's also important to make sure that you understand that there can be some energies where People might act out due to maybe misspeaking, maybe not necessarily understanding nuance, people not necessarily being able to read between the lines. And if you are in a situation like that, then it's important to understand, to know when to pick your battles. Because whoever this family member is, or this housemate is, or maybe whatever this piece of paper is that's kind of stuck on you during this period, is going to be what you have to reason with. Your partner, your one-on-one connection's just fine. It's just that it's running up against this other issue that's been sort of thrown down. Now, as we get into the cards, before we do, I want to remind everybody that if you're a part of Patreon, your monthly astrology horoscopes for March will be up on the 23rd. That's this coming Sunday. Well, February 23rd anyway, if you're watching this after the 23rd. And you can check that out on my Patreon page if you are interested in maybe checking that out. You can always open up the down bar below and go there, follow the links. And of course, for those of you who are curious, yes, I have put up the Oversoul video talking about soul families, twin flames, soulmates, and all of that kind of good stuff in the much bigger picture. Because you know how I like to look at things as in a much, more, well, expanded way. So that's also up if you're interested in checking that out. You can always check on my, click on, my avatar below. And of course, you can just go to my main channel page or open the down bar below and follow the link. I'll put it in there for you. So what is going on when it comes to your cards this week? Well, for your spiritual themes, Libra, you have the Empress card upright. Your home is your castle, your territory, your kingdom, and how you maintain it, how you defend it, and how you allow it to flourish, well, is going to get a very big boost this week when it comes to resources, when it comes to support, when it comes to social connections, because the Empress card upright is all about having everything you need and then some. But we also talk about a focus on longevity of peace, longevity of function, and longevity of health as it relates to that environment, as it relates to that kingdom. And if you haven't noticed, the astrology is giving us a little bit of a taste of that as well. We're seeing changing things around the work environment, the professional atmosphere, how you're actually doing your work, what you're supposed to be doing, who you're doing it with, and how you are seen when it comes to your career, or maybe even getting back something that you feel is a better fit, something that you miss, something that you wanted to do after all, or what you would have rather have done in the first place. The Empress card upright can also apply to maybe you defending your kingdom, even when it comes to dealing with members of said kingdom or members of said court. Every once in a while, it could be sort of a coming-of-age story where, one person has to kind of make a point in saying, no, I'm sorry, relative, or I'm sorry, whoever. This is my life now, and this is what we're doing. But the Empress card is doing it, again, in the interest of enforcing peace and function, balance and stability, happiness, as well as comfort. And this is your week. In fact, your influx, what's coming in, we actually have the World upright. Everything is going through an upgrade, a level up. Remember, the World card upright is all about the closing of a book in our lives and the opening of something completely brand new. And this could apply to all areas of our life, right? Our identity, how people know us. It could apply to what we do, but also at the same time, it's a completely brand new adventure. And even if we're carrying a lot of this old book into the new book with us, they are also going through the upgrade process. Now, this could, of course, indicate that with the World card, excuse me, with the World card upright, there, well, could be maybe some stuff popping up where you find out that not everything's going to make it through this filtration process, and it won't necessarily have the chance to be upgraded because we just have to get a different model. But with the World and the Empress so close by, it's almost like just a radical quality of life boost for all concerned. When it comes to the outflux, what's going away, we have the Two of Pentacles upright. If you have been kind of running multiple lives, maybe as an administrator, maybe taking care of somebody else, maybe you are running multiple lives yourself, maybe your life has become too compartmentalized, your identity has become too compartmentalized, or maybe you're feeling like you don't wish to carry on multiple identities or multiple lifestyles or multiple, I would say just modes of living at the same time. If it's becoming exhausting, or you're, again, responsible for perfectly able-bodied adults who won't take care of themselves, well, with the outflux of the Two of Pentacles, we don't have to deal with that anymore. In fact, if you feel like also there's something maybe holding you back, right? Because we're juggling with the Two of Pentacles. We're trying to make everything work. We're trying to make everything happen in a perfect, picture-perfect way for ourselves, for other people. Well, with the Two of Pentacles upright leaving, we are losing some obligations, and that might feel kind of weird. You may even feel strangely guilty. Not necessarily because you should feel guilty, but perhaps not knowing what to do with this newfound sense of relief. Perhaps you were programmed to feel like you had to hold on to another person's life for so long, but this week, not anymore. When it comes to the mundane concerns at the bottom of the spread here, for your material wealth, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. And again, we have happy returns. We have returns coming in, maybe people coming back into your life, cluing you into better financial or professional prospects. I often look at this card in this position as somebody turning their boat around, or maybe you turning your boat around because of a new signal, a new contact, or a new opportunity coming out of the professional or financial past. Now, this could also absolutely indicate that a lot of you may be deciding to even go and resurrect an old pastime, resurrect an old service, or maybe get back in contact with people from our past. This could go back years. Could go back to a former career, a former employer, or maybe even something that we just had to leave on a shelf. Unfortunately, we were not capable at the time, for whatever reason, it wasn't available, to bring it out and debut it. This is the week where we have a chance for you to recover and revisit all of those opportunities. On the external, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the other people in your life, we have the High Priestess in reverse. And it does look like somebody in your friendship group, I'm actually seeing this as somebody in your friendship group, or again in your family group, is not allowing themselves to psychologically or mentally kind of keep up with you. And with the High Priestess reverse, in a lot of cases, we do see somebody who does not allow their mind, their spirit, their intuition to actually work. They're kind of stuck living by the books, very much black and white thinking, very narrow-minded. And in a lot of cases with the High Priestess reverse, they can sometimes try to force us to feel like we are responsible for holding up their script or their reality. And if this is maybe somebody imposing a bit of a dogma, they're imposing their very restricted and restrictive worldview on you, possibly with Venus squared to Pluto, maybe even onto partners and things like that, it's time to find a way to shut her down. Because with the High Priestess in reverse, in a lot of cases, you do see somebody who is not comfortable in a fluid world, or in an ambiguous reality, or in a fluid reality. This is somebody who might not necessarily have developed the mental or spiritual or emotional acuity to be able to handle something that is not locked down, black and white, in that very much fixed, rigid world. And if they're trying to impose that on your space, they might, need to be getting a bit of a refresher about what is okay and what's not okay. They're okay to do it in their reality if they want, but that's not something that they should be allowed to do for you. On the relationships front, when it comes to romance, and when it comes to, commitments, we have the Ten of Wands upright. And I am seeing something going on with partners on the move, maybe not just partners on the move in terms of like a living situation, but partners on the move where there could be something going on where they themselves are in a space where they feel like they're overburdened, they're taking on too much, life has become far too high maintenance, far too up and down, and they may be deciding that there is something they wish to make an alteration with, especially if it has to do with their work or something that they're carrying for other people. And you are sort of watching, I think, a partner, or if you're available, somebody new, having their availability for this relationship, or even their availability for themselves, being challenged or being tested by external forces this week. And I think that with the Ten of Wands, as you go into this, it's important to help them understand that maybe they need to take a page out of your Two of Pentacles energy here. There is no reason to be carrying on so much on your back. Even if you've done it voluntarily, it's okay to know your limit, because it might accidentally only make things more difficult as it relates to how do we get this, this relationship back to that status of the Empress, right? That sense of comfort, peace, longevity, and health. Well, with the Ten of Wands upright, if a partner or even somebody new seems to be going a bit too far, they're burning the candle at both ends, and maybe even the things that they're doing for you are way too laborious, this is a time to help them get back into their own balance. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And if you ever wish to get a session, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.